All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. The intermission was not brief, but doesn't matter because we're back and we're getting ready for our next round. I'm going to get set up here for our discussions because the teams are discussing their lobby hosting strategy. So we're going to discuss the ban strategies. Sleepy, Mayhem's ban, give it to the folks at home.
Yes, so Mayhem's ban will be Suburbia, so no short-range Lonely Viper Sniper today. And from Scooby and the gang at BossFight, they are banning Cargo. So two of our smallest maps off the board. So we're looking long range here today. I'm thinking Bazaar, I'm thinking Quarantine, or Downfall. Those are my three maps, but more than likely, I'm thinking Quarantine and Downfall.
Well, the first map is up, and it is an interesting one. It is the one that was banned in the last series that we cast with Mayhem, and it is going to be Subway. Subway is the first choice here for Mayhem, who does appear to be opting to pick the map. So we are, it is their map choice, and so, you know, interestingly, was banned by SEAL Team Bravo in that last series, and I think an apt ban. You know, I wonder what it is that makes them so scary. C4s aren't back in play, right? That made Mayhem very dangerous on this map. There's no smokes still, right? There are Vogue drones, however. But outside of that, I mean, I don't know. It's really grenades, right? It's placement of grenades. It's coordination. Yeah. It's the way they make the approach. That's what makes them a threat on this map. And I feel like BossFight kind of equals them there. I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, I feel like they're not. It's not a disparate, spread between skill levels on this map. What do you know, who do you think is going to be the bigger threat? Who do you think we're going to see that level of aggression and pressure come from the most out of these two teams?
I'd say for chances at most aggression, I'd probably go with BossFight, to be honest, because Lonely Viper is a wild card. Scooby is good at making a lot of on-the-field calls and changing things up, to include getting a little risky sometimes. He himself has gone on many a successful flank, so you really can't count out the unpredictability of BossFight at just about any point in time. So I'd say that you're more apt to see wanton aggression from, well, not wanton aggression, but aggression nonetheless, from BossFight here, more so than Mayhem. However, like you said, I feel that these teams are quite equally matched, maybe different in pacing, but we should be seeing kind of what we saw with Downfall in our first series here, where we go to probably around 7 decider.
Yeah, I do have a feeling it's going to be relatively blow for blow, but I'm going to say we're going to see caps here. I feel like we're going to see at least one, but most likely two, possibly, back to back, like the trading of caps between these teams, because I feel like both teams really have the strategies for getting close to the objective and applying the correct amount of pressure and in the right places at the right time to get their members in already. Mayhem's got a cap under their belt for that first round against SEAL Team Bravo. They managed to punch the code in on Quarantine, and I think they've got what it takes to do it here on Subway. But BossFight definitely going to bring that same A game here and punish Mayhem if they're not prepared, if they don't have their defense all lined up. So I think it's gonna be a pretty good one. Honestly, the series so far, all the games so far have been fantastic to watch. If you've been tuned into this channel, either on venues or on Twitch or any of the other platforms, or to Onward VRML, to the G-Men BossFight match that happened in that first round. It's been a banger. It's been a good one to watch, and there's plenty more still coming. We've got this round. We've got one more after this where we're going to bring you the results of the BossFight SEAL Team Bravo match that's going to be happening here, as well as Mayhem and G-Men happening on Onward VRML. And then later today, 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern, we're going to be giving you the Challenger Cup final, which will decide that 4th team that goes on to the Group E stage tomorrow and fights for one of the 4 spots in the semifinals next week. So lots of Onward, lots of action, and perfectly timed as the rounds start for this first round of Subway. Let's get underway here as the defense boss fight look to hold against Mayhem on the offense.
That's the side they're going to be on. Yes. Yep, Mayhem going to be trying to push out straight away. They're going to send 3 down the tunnels. As you mentioned in round 1, when they were up against SEAL Team Bravo, they like to run either a 3-2 or a 2-2-1 split. And so far, we're seeing that 3-2 split right here. I wouldn't be surprised, though, to see one of those 3 in that group going downstairs break off. But for now, Wookie and Theta up top.
Waiting for these south stairs. They're going to have to deal with 35, and he's in a tucked-in position. Huge advantage at the bottom of those stairs. He's going to have that angle locked down. They're going to need some form of coordination to get down these stairs together and not both get downed as a result. I'm going to check back in here with Lonely Viper on the platform 2 stairs as Mono and PotatoBot have opted to shift past this stairwell, not challenge Lonely Viper on it. Only James tucked in just below. They are looking towards the sub-basement entrance. See how that works out for them. Let's check back in with Wookie and Theta.
Not much progress to report there. You've got Wookie being very cautious here as he pushes down the stairwell, and for good reason. You've got 35 just down there taking a defensive positioning behind those soda machines, and they're not going to be giving up any room anytime soon.
If he gets peeky, and this is exactly what Wookie's looking for, right? He's got that angle. If 35 just gets a little too peeky, and there it is. Wookie does come out. It does come out as a timing-based problem, right? I mean, that is all timing. 35 didn't have the angle locked. He just decided to look out for it, and that is going to be the first pick going the way of Mayhem. Our Lonely Viper and James Boak here trading a little conversation. James with a nice check nade there. Perfect airburst out of the tunnel. Lonely Viper ready with that flaming Molotov on the chest.
Now, he doesn't burn himself, I don't know.
Well, it's a cold flame. You see Death, meanwhile, getting PotatoBot downstairs. He is due the callouts. He didn't hear Mono pushing until far too late. Mono gets the refrag. Nice and easy. Lidl, meanwhile, does get the refrag on Monarchid, and we're trading blow for blow here. 3 members on both teams remaining. Let's check in with Lonely Viper and James. Oh, the Molotov's coming out. Oh, he's looking for it. Oh, it doesn't go down the stairs. And the frag comes in and finds Lonely Viper instead. The trade back and forth, well tossed.
Well cooked is a better descriptor. I mean,
perfectly cooked.
Any longer and Viper might have just been able to escape. But I mean, let's not belittle the area denial and the pathway denial that Viper has now held James to now for at least 30 to 40. I don't even know the burn time on the Molotovs. Do you know that stat, Noman? Or does anyone in chat happen to know that burn time stat?
Yeah, I would venture to say somewhere between 15 and 20 seconds, but I'm not 100%. Could be as much as 30, although that seems steep. I think it's 15 to 20. But
James
somebody
is gonna
correct
have
us.
a problem making it out of this tunnel as Scooby-Doo is there and prepared to watch this, assuming he's got his night vision on it. Looks like he might have some peeks onto this angle. Legel's going to get aggressive as he's pushing into the tunnel now, completely on edge. He's ready to pre-fire, but they're going to trade out. And there it is as the callouts come out from James. Wookie able to pick up Scooby-Doo in the middle, and Mayhem grab the first point here on Subway.
Yeah, great defense, but an even better offense there for Mayhem, getting that final bit of pressure in. That final push, I'm not sure I can agree with. You had your Legel here in the instant replay doing the push down into the tunnels. I mean, you had Scooby suppressing it already. Legel would have been far better keeping Theta locked in on that track rather than applying the pressure directly on those stairs. I mean, James really wasn't a threat. He'd have to come out, go up that ramp, to really pose any kind of threat to the objective. So a bit of a misstep there, at least in my opinion. It's going to cost them that round. And MAYHEM go up the first point. Now they're going to be on the defense here. What a little trade between Viper and James on those stairs there, though. It's always interesting to see how they handle those stairs. It's such a challenging defense to have, and Lonely Viper definitely had the right idea. Just not quite enough pepper on that toss over the stairs to get the Molotov into James's range. But a good little trade there for sure.
Yeah, sometimes those quick short throws can be the hardest ones to actually judge. Like, you either give it way too much and you end up, chucking it up. And, I mean, luckily for Viper in this case, it would have hit a wall or a ceiling or something and kept it from flying off too far. But, in any of the open air maps, you could try and toss something a little gently and, give a little too much flick of the old wrist there, and it's gone into the next block. So, really tough time there sometimes to get that short little hop over, and of course you got to throw it up and over the stairs so that your arch has got to be kind of perfect there. So a good attempt, and again, it holds up James from being able to progress there, which is another key thing. Even though Viper does go down from the frag, he's able to hold James up and keep him relatively out of position for another certain amount of time.
Absolutely. Round 2 now underway. Defense from MAYHEM now has to hold the BossFight advance if they want to go up a couple of points here, but BossFight definitely not going to take this one laying down. I cannot imagine checking in with the BossFight.
We're not pushing down the stairs.
Our sock push.
Feel really slow right now.
Now they are opting to go north side here instead of south, or actually middle. Looks like they're going for the catwalk stairs. 35 and Scooby is who we're trailing right now.
Yeah, initial movements would say that they are going to make this push down the middle, but 35 holding back there. They're covering each other and splitting the catwalks. Always a good idea there in case you are watching at home and taking notes from some of these teams. If you're one of our newer teams to the league or to Onward itself, you may take notes at how these teams attack. But splitting those hallways always a good idea, because even if there is a defender and he manages to snag one, chances are, if you're timed and coordinated well enough, he's not going to be able to get the both of you. So there's at least a refrag there. And if not, you at least know that someone's not going to be hiding in that other hallway to sneak around behind you and shoot you in the back.
Legal and Viper here on the stairs. Mono waiting for the ambush.
Scooby giving hand signs actually to 35 as well about Theta's positioning.
He's just a ton of chatter there from the BossFight folks, giving Mono more than enough information about where that player is positioned. That proximity audio coming into full effect. 35 and Scooby opting to rotate back above the objective here instead. They've gone a long way, and James sort of following them via the audio. And there you hear James there giving the call outs, telling the team, hey, can you check out the objective? I'm hearing this audio here and there. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you see from these team captains where they've got the awareness, they've got the command, they know where their players are, they know where they want them to be.
Okay, guys.
So they're doing a really good job of commanding their players. We'll see here. I'm keeping my eye on Viper and Lego here as Viper's coming up with the frag on the stairs. A little too late for that, but he pushes right into Lego's bullets. James and UC Death will trade downs in the sub-basement. But this is a big pickup for BossFight here, getting Mono out of this stairwell.
Yeah, if they can manage to keep Wookie at bay, there's a cap opportunity here, and Viper's got a shield, so there's the possibility he can protect himself from some refrags. Wookie going to get aggressive and push into the tunnel. Viper not quite ready for it, but he is going to give the call outs. There's the frag.
A little too far. A little too far. Nice little toss here as Wookie applies the pressure. The grenade. Oh, what a toss that was. A fantastic defensive nade by Wookie. Will down the shield on Viper, and that is going to leave 4 remaining for BossFight. They've stacked up here in the sub-basement now that they've confirmed James. Know where they're coming up. The sounds here are going to be good for Potato Bot to be aware of this stairwell, but Scooby's obviously rotating out of that position. You toss a frag, you rotate. These teams know what they're doing when it comes to approaching these objectives.
Scooby now on the north sub-basement stairs. Theta going to be his real opposition here, but Theta on the other side of the subway cars. So Scooby going to have free range to at least, exit from the stairwell, though he will have to watch out for the crossfire from Wookiee across the subway.
Yeah, Wookiee now switching with Potato Bot's position. You see Death looking for it. I think he saw Wookiee cross here. Just continues to watch for him, and BossFight down into the almost final minute of play. They've got to start making their push here. They do have the man advantage. If they apply the proper pressure here, it could be the cap they want. Wookiee there getting a little peeky onto UC Death. Really should wait for Potato Bot to clean him up on the backside, but Wookiee primes a nade. Potato Bot finds one as Scooby pushes up those northern stairs and goes down to that shot. Meanwhile, Leggle still in that that track 2 position, closer to objective. 45 seconds left. UC Death now hearing the callouts of Potato Bot. Knows he's got to be watching both sides. 35 needs to get into a position where he can help his team. Is still in the sub-basement, not able to apply any of this pressure, and Potato Bot finds another as Leggle pushes out onto track 2. UC Death finding the bullets of Potato Bot as well, and there it is. Just one member left, 25 seconds, and BossFight's dream of a cap here dies with 35 as Mayhem deals a little bit more damage and gets the second point here in round 2.
Wow, great round there from Mayhem, really kind of turning that one around. I thought BossFight was going to be able to take that one fairly handedly there at the end, because we know how they are with coordination. I mean, you could hear Scooby calling audibles or reminding the team of the play if it was them following their strategy still at that point. But I tell you, Potato Bot's rotation there towards the end when he grabs that double, starting with Legel, was very key. And he might not have even realized how key it was at that time, but his movement there kept Legel off that objective, because at that point, he was completely clear. Wookiee, Potato Bot, Theta, all of their attentions were drawn away from that objective area at that time. Legel was free and clear to walk up onto the objective and get that cap, or at least get in behind that pillar to give himself some protection from some of the defenders in case they did a quick check peek. So a great job there from them, even if it by coincidence, and a great attack from BossFight. I mean, there at the end, they were man advantage. So still great play from both teams, as we expected from this round and from the rounds carrying forward here and on the next map.
Yeah, absolutely. They have done a really good job on both sides. We're seeing, the strategies happening, adjusting on the fly. We saw so many rotations from BossFight there. At one point they had 2 on the stairs, then they had 3 on track 2 stairs and 2 in the sub-basement, and then all of a sudden, just 30 seconds later, they had them, 3 or 4 stacked in the sub-basement again. So we're seeing these constant adjustments by these teams to get into new positions and to constantly reevaluate what's happening on the battlefield. It's great to see.
Yeah, it really is. And now BossFight have another chance to lock down a point here on this map and get things going their way again. It's 2-0 now, but we've seen BossFight come back from much worse. They're on defense. They should know this objective well enough. They should be prepared to handle it. Viper going to be the first one on the pressure. Wookiee and the boys have already made it up the south stairs, however, and he's going to go ahead and just stay back. He's not going to pressure it out.
Not yet. Can't imagine Viper's going to stay still for too long.
Is it still or quiet that he has trouble staying?
Hey, why not both? Scooby. The pick on Potato Bot there, not ready for that northern stair defense, and that's going to slow up James, the captain, as he watches his teammate mercilessly confirmed by Scooby-Doo from the top of the stairs. Putting Mayhem down to 4.
No mercy in a match, Noman. Only after and before.
No, when in doubt, empty the magazine. That is the motto of a lot of the teams here.
Oh, you missed the perfect opportunity for when in doubt, emptying the magazine out.
I don't think I
rhyme, did. It works every time. If I learned anything from How I Met Your Mother, that's it.
I can't even right now. too early and or late. I don't know. I don't even know
It's
which one it
lunchtime
is.
now, Noman. Catch up.
You're right. Oh, ketchup on a hot dog for lunch.
Oh, don't talk about
We're
food.
making all the viewers
We're not doing that
hungry.
here.
Sleepy, we're making all the viewers hungry. How dare you? I'm hungry for action because right now, that's what we're missing as these teams get set up still. I mean, Mayhem really taking their time in terms of getting into position. James, I don't think he's moved. He's like a statue standing down there. I think he's waiting for the defense to give up that angle, right? That's one of those mind
just to
games
give
you
up,
play.
totally.
Can't see BossFight doing that. He's gonna be waiting a while if he wants BossFight to do that. But meanwhile, the rest of Mayhem here is approaching this position. Now, we did see... Oh, there he is. Viper retreated all the way to Catwalk. He might be looking for a flank. I think he's thinking flank. I told you, he's a squirrely one. He's not going to stay still in an alleyway for long.
Yeah, and don't let his antics and stuff fool you. I mean, I love Viper, and I love his kooky antics and stuff myself, and his sense of humor and whatnot, but the guy is a murderer. And I say that in the nicest sense. He is a killer. The dude is... He makes plays. It's not like, oh, he's just this kooky character that puts on a show and streams and has this persona. Like, no, the guy is good at this game.
James's patience, not waiting, not working out there. Scooby finds 135 on the peak, grabs mono, but Theta nice on the refrag there. He's gonna have to deal with Lonely Viper, who I don't think he's gonna be ready for, as Lonely Viper sweeps through the spawn here. Is Theta gonna be prepared for this? If he tucks in, he could.
Viper's already managing his noise, excuse me, with the crouch. He's pushing up Theta. Probably not going to hear it. Will Viper see him before he breaks the corner, though? Oh, he's going to sneak. Oh, gosh. Is Viper going to go for the knife? No, he's not going to take the risk. He takes a headshot instead, and Theta goes down. It's one left for Mayhem, and it's just Wookie who's approaching from the Ladies of the Night alley, shall we?
We shan't say that.
No.
On the instant replay there, yeah, Lonely Viper taking his time. He was thinking about it. We all know he was thinking about a kooky play there, but he's
Wookie
gonna run.
push out.
Right.
Wookie and Lonely Viper gonna trade.
Yeah, into the
at
hands.
end of the round.
And there it is. BossFight getting a little point there on the board. And in map 1 of round 2, in round 3, we really need better nomenclature for these things. There's a lot of rounds and matches going around in the casting jargon. That's a plan for season 11. Let's clean that up so the casters don't have to trip over their words. But either way, BossFight nabbing themselves a point and starting to close the gap a little bit. They've got to make something happen on this offensive round if they really want to start putting the pressure on.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about playmakers and stuff too, but in reality, both of these teams do a great job of balancing. And we talked about this, James at being able to construct a good team overall and a great team lineup for each individual match. Scooby has that same reputation, and again, both of those players have a great on-the-field calling ability as well. So in apples-to-apples comparisons, I think Mayhem is kind of the NA BossFight. They have a similar playstyle. Again, BossFight might be a tad more aggressive. In fact, BossFight always wearing the kind of most aggressive in the EU nomenclature quite proudly, as they've never been the slowest teams and out of what is typically known as a slower region and play style. Not always the case. That of course changed a lot back in the season 5, season 6 era when that started to become kind of a talking point between the two regions. But now we're seeing a lot of different play styles develop from all different areas of the world. I mean, take OJC, for example, over in Japan, really rocking it with a very methodical play style, but a varying pace as well. They can go slow, they can go fast, but they know how to work the clock and positioning to their advantage. So really seeing a lot of varying metas come out now here in Season 10. But anyways, we're into round 4. Mayhem now on the defense here in the red light district courtyard objective. BossFight going to be charging hard up the south stairs, 5 strong. Pre-fire out early from UC Death. No opposition from Mayhem, but they are going to have that knowledge now that they got to spawn in the south.
Yeah, they've got pretty good lines here set up. They're prepared for any defensive push. Mayhem not going to opt to give it to them as they stay tucked in the hallways of the objective and inside that courtyard.
Yeah, in postseason, you really don't. You're not surprised to see teams playing a lot more defensively, especially when it comes to their defensive rounds. They're not going to be necessarily going for those riskier flanks that might lose them a team member. They instead opt to more usually stay close on the defense, not give any unusual peaks or unnecessary peaks. And the offense has really got to work for it here in postseason. So that's where you start to see who's well balanced, who can do the offense and the defense. And when you can convert these offensive rounds on these tighter defensive, what we usually like to call like box defenses, you really start to show your true colors as a team and as with your coordination.
A little bit of audio cues there, I think, coming in from Viper may have given a little bit more intel to Mayhem about where they're coming from. All quiet on the southern front as BossFight continues to maneuver into position. Grenades being primed by Viper here to check. Likely one of these corridors on the inside. Mono might be playing right into the hands of one. There goes one into the corridor. The coordinated flash is coming out. That is going to hit Mono.
Danger plus.
Yeah.
Danger route.
You see he is going to be pressing himself into the wall there, tucked in, giving James the ability to cover him on that angle. That return flash is going to come out. And the frag, but early. A lot of comms coming in between these teams, or between each players of these teams. More frags coming out from James. He's got an absolute pile of grenades, James. I always see him running 2 frags. Viper there waiting for Mono.
Point commitment.
Yeah.
Ready, Hellfire?
I think he's grabbing them off of his players, because you can only have the 1 frag. So I think he's just trading out a flash for a frag with his teammates.
Good one to give the frag too, though. He's a heck of a good frag thrower. Him and Wookie, actually. Wookie been really showing some excellent frag throw ability in more recent games and in more recent weeks there towards the end of the regular season. BossFight still just kind of stacked. They're ready to go, but not quite there yet. Viper was in a peaking position and then kind of backed off. Now they're set. It's 1:45 left. The strike's coming in. You've got 4 coming deep from the Scooby side here. They're stacked on the corner, but no movement. They're afraid to get around just yet. Scooby finds James. Ledgel trades out. Goes down to Monarch Kid. Trade. James will find Scooby as well. James with the, that is the frag toss there as he popped that corner. Scooby down to toss that frag in, and now the pressure's coming in on all sides. Only Viper left alone on this corner. He's only got 35 on the other side, who should have been pushing off of all of this confusion. He's just been in the back there, not applying the pressure equally from both sides, and that's going to give the defense all of the opportunity to focus their efforts onto Lonely Viper's spot here, and the shots coming in now. He's looking for Wookie in the back. Here's 35 with the reinforcement. 50 seconds left on the clock. Still a res available. Scooby able to be revived, but obviously looks like unlikely. Well, it looks like Viper there just ID'd that via tablet. But it can be a very challenging res to have at 35 seconds left on the clock.
Expect them to be over here, though.
Communication coming in. They still expect them on this side, so they know they're checking. There it is. Wookie peeking, grabbing Viper right as he goes for the gun to drop the shield, and Mayhem nab themselves another map win. Map point, correct. Too many words. Too many names for words. That is going to be round number 4 going the way, number 5 going the way of Mayhem. No, number 4. Man, what is even words or stuff,
More like maths.
What is even anything? We'll take a look at the
We've been
instant
in
replay of
isolation
that.
a long time. Let's
Yeah.
just put it that way.
Only Viper there going for the gun, trading out. 35 pushing the corner as well, but not effective enough as MAYHEM will sweep that defensive round. Now it is all up to BossFight to try to stay alive in the series. They've got a defensive round, so good opportunity to close the gap a little bit more. MAYHEM on the offense this time around, but do they have what it takes? Chat, I want to see what you think. Do they have what it takes? Maybe do they have what it takes before I wait for chat 5 minutes from now?
I was just going to sit here quietly while they pondered. Yes, they do. If we know anything, BossFight is not a team that you can count out really at any time. Unless, of course, they've kind of given up faith themselves. If they've given up hope, then no, they cannot. But I don't see that happening from this team. I don't see that happening from BossFight or from Viper. I don't see it happening from Scooby. I don't see that happening, no. So I do think they could still do this, yes.
No, I like
Am I holding my
Well, we're gonna find out if Sleepy's prediction is correct as round 5 for real this time goes underway.
Which route do you want to take?
I'm gonna go south there. Like our last
649, 7968.
Sounds good.
7968.
And as we wait for the spawn box to lift, it looks like MAYHEM is going to take a similar strategy approach to their last round, going to the subway. They're going to split 2-3, with 3 going directly into the basement level, the sub-basement level, I guess I should say. Going for a direct subway tunnel insertion here. Wookie and Theta not taking as much time to get down the stairs this time as before. Obviously, the defense not having quite as much time to get out there. 35 and Wookie spot each other, but 35 able to make the connection. And BossFight grab their first pick on this map. Or on
See?
this round.
It's not
Jeez, now
so
you got me doing it.
It's not so easy, is it, Sleepy? Not as easy
Well, I
as that
blame
pickup
you.
for 35 was. Able to nab that first pick. It's gonna leave Theta marooned up there in the south, wondering where 35 was. Now, you know, it brings a question of like, do you, as a member of the offense, do you go for the shot on the person you just saw, or do you back off the corner and feed the intel right there? You know, it's one of those things that you don't know. Oh no, Scooby downing himself with that frag grenade.
Nice one.
And I see this out.
That was a long reach on that frag. Obviously not tossed where he wanted it to go, I don't believe, but downing himself behind that box is going to give the offense a bit of an easier push onto this corner, and now the sub-basement a little bit more available.
Yes and no. That down from Scooby on himself does actually trigger Viper, who was on a topside flank, to go into underground mode. He's now trying to cover the backside approach to the subway tunnel, and if he's quiet enough, he might be able to sneak up here. But I think James Boak may have heard it, because it looks like Potato Bot is now setting security on the backside of Monarchid, ready for Lonely Viper's approach. But Lonely's dropped down to a crouch. He's dropping his speed. He's trying to drop his audio levels. He's trying to make sure that nobody hears him approaching here. Theta, meanwhile, going to grab 35 up on the top side.
Does get that refrag, getting the revenge for Wookie going down there. Monarchid putting the pressure down, does find UC Death, and the re-reflanker. James finding the back of Lonely
but no
Viper
James
just
was there.
before he applied the pressure.
I'm gonna go help
I mean, wow, the flanker got flanked. We're 4 levels deep of flanks here.
The cameraman got flanked. I didn't even see James come up behind him like that. I was so tight in on Viper's shoulder, waiting for the shots on.
Yeah, we
Potato
were
Bot.
we were as well, and now it's just Lego here. The last one on objective basically has to defend with his life. I mean, at the end of the day, he's just got to stop him from capping if he can apply enough pressure. But he's about to get it from all angles as James and Theta opt to set up on both sets of stairs. Potato Bot and Mono obviously on the track here, and so the pressure is going to come in on all sides. James botches a frag there. Whoa, but that frag wasn't botched, and it will find the kill they need to to stitch it all up here in map 1. Mayhem going up 4-1 over BossFight. A fantastic series there by Mayhem. Really just, I mean, they felt like they were a step ahead of them on that subway map at all times.
To an extent, I mean, I saw a few things going for the BossFight side at times where I was like, oh man, this is really going to wreck Mayhem's day. And then something would happen across the map. And that particular motion that was in play stops and then adjusts and they rotate, which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's what you want to see from a defense, especially if it's like a risky flank or something of that nature. But at the same time, I just feel like there were a lot of opportunities that were interrupted for BossFight that could have proven to disrupt Mayhem a bit better and ultimately get them more round wins. Or at least the possibility of a better shot at those round wins. Ultimately, everything's a roll of the dice here, right?
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I mean, Mayhem played an excellent map. I think BossFight would agree to that if you were to ask them. I think Mayhem would agree that BossFight played an excellent map if you asked them. So I don't think either team really had it easy or had it tougher, but BossFight did get to see the backside of Lady Luck's hand, unfortunately, in this one.
Yeah, we are waiting for the second map to be chosen, so if you have some predictions as to what you think that map is going to be, do drop them into the chat, let us know. I'm curious to see what I want to see what people want them to play, right? So this would be obviously BossFight's choice.
Yes, it is indeed, and we'll give you just a bit more time to get those predictions in, but we're off to the next map now. And I got to tell you, I'm really not surprised at this one, Omen.
No, definitely not a surprising choice in Downfall, coming in as map 2.
Bow, 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 bow.
Yes,
Air noise sounds intensify.
Exactly. That is the BossFight pick. They are taking Mayhem. Now, we saw Mayhem deal a good bit of defensive damage to SEAL Team Bravo in the first round of Group A here. So, I mean, we know what we're stacked up against, and this was a map that was played in the series between G-Men and BossFight. G-Men did take that from BossFight. So, I don't know. Do you think they're coming in rattled? Do you think they can reset and do what they need to do on this map?
Rattled? No, I don't think BossFight are going to be coming in rattled at all. They'll be coming into their map pick, and so I think they're going to feel confident here. Mayhem's attacks, while looking confident, they weren't strong. I wouldn't use strong to necessarily describe them. Well coordinated and timed, yes, but a little lacking on the as far as round timing. Not so great. They were still just not quite making it to the objective. There were still a lot of holes there. I mean, to be fair to them, the new meta with the suspension of smokes has caused a lot of that. But yeah, so BossFight must be just really confident in this map to be willing to take the Marsoc side here on such an open map with such a new meta on the line, where it's very, very hard to get yourself into a position on the objective without exposing yourself to about 100 different angles.
Yeah, it is going to be I think it's going to be a long-range battle. I think we're going to see, what's interesting is I don't see Defilade on the roster for Mayhem for either Downfall round now, and that is definitely one of their biggest sniper threats. So we'll see.
It could be it could just be a scheduling thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of pistol shots coming in. And James there, cracking the whip on the team, letting them know they gotta do what he wants them to do. Making sure they're in place. Oh, and there it is.
I made it. I'm left revable.
James does manage to get the res here, it looks like, but he does get caught with bullets. Funny enough, that's what James was warning him about.
Yep.
If you take too long to make that cross, you get down, and the pressure coming in a big way here from BossFight.
Yeah, BossFight using and leaning into that suppressive fire tactic that we talked about not really being utilized much in that Mayhem SEAL Team Bravo match from the first round, right? Like, they're not. Meanwhile, BossFight they're laying down the fire when they move, and they're laying it down in specific positions. They know where to shoot or the most likely places to shoot when they move. And so you can see, even now,
You inside the building?
Lonely Viper just putting down single shot suppression into that back window, that far objective watch building. And he can watch all sorts of angles with that 12X. And combined with that M16, he's got plenty of rounds to utilize.
You've got
I'm gonna go south.
Lego out there to the east, wrapping around. Only Viper providing a little music for the cast here. We'll tune into him for a second.
He's got a real country thing going
Oh,
on, doesn't he?
he knew we were watching. Now he's in a battle with Potato Bot.
I hit whoever is in Boulder Darkroom once, but he's probably still alive. So Boulder Darkroom when I...
And as he's calling out that he did hit him, no confirmation on that. Wasn't over the shoulder of Potato Bot, but he is looking at him. He's looking at him in a big way. Potato Bot has been in that situation before. He was dealing with one of the members of SEAL Team Bravo in that same window, but he did win out in the end. We'll see if he can deal with the likes of Viper and that 12X he runs. Meanwhile, checking in on objective here. It's a very similar defense, almost actually identical, except they've got James and Mono a building over.
No, Potato, do not peek.
Yeah, James telling Potato, do not peek. James knows the danger of that 12X. Let him get close.
Viper just made the mistake of calling Potato dead as well. He said he's definitely dead. That is a mistake, unfortunately, on his part. Potato is very much still alive, though keeping himself safe. So Viper may keep himself safe here by not being exposed to who he thought was a danger. And he does check it again, though, so maybe he's not 100% confident in his death.
See that laser panning over the map. He's looking for Theta in that window. The laser, trained, waiting for him. He wants it. That's a level of stability right there on a sniper scope at this distance that you don't often see. A very, very difficult to be that
Wow.
accurate.
That
And
headshot.
there it is, the headshot onto Theta.
That's going to be in a Lonely Viper clip later this week, I'm sure.
Well, it's going to be in one of our clips because we're going to show it on the instant replay here. Theta getting himself punished for getting his head out into that window.
Me and 30 will do that. Did you clear the roof?
35 and UC death here in Center Hotel. Just kind of waiting. Just waiting for a little bit of assistance.
North bungalow, he's at the wall now.
Hit him.
Sandbags.
Tato Bot does call out Lego's position there, but Lonely Viper does
I don't know
manage.
from where he's moving southwest. He's moving southwest.
There it is, the callouts coming in from Potato Bot as well on that sniper position, but Lonely Viper finally getting the down. Still just a down. The callouts are going to come out from Potato Bot there about the
Viper's
position.
Pushed his way up to the far reaches of the map. But they have under a minute, so he has got a long way to hike. And James Boak actually has an angle up to this rock. Viper could be in trouble here. But the 203 comes out onto James's window, pushes him back, gives Viper a chance to move. I think James Boak has now lost that line of sight. Now Viper's going to have to push, but the rest of the BossFight team is crashing. Scooby on Wookiee's building at the body truck.
Pressure from Wookiee coming out onto Viper. That does find one, but now he's hearing the footsteps of several. He's got to reload and be ready for it. Scooby rushing in, does find another. James finds Lego on the center push.
Death on the backside. You see Death firing through the windows. He's trying to get the backside of Wookiee, but Wookiee's going to rush out and find you, Death, and that's going to be it because BossFight get in underneath, and 35 gets the cap completely underneath the noses of everyone, including us.
Including us, indeed. Let's see if we manage to capture it in the instant replay I was collecting while Wookiee was doing his work there, but we see him running underneath the camera as Wookiee deals with Scooby here. There he is. He runs into the basement. You can kind of catch him there, and he gets underneath the defense. Wookiee, too much pressure for him to deal with, and James and Mono not rotating fast enough. A fantastic cap. We only managed to catch in the periphery there. But a great push by BossFight answers the question, will they be shaken? No, they will not. They'll get in there. They'll slam 2 points on the table and they'll say, hey, Mayhem, your move.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely that. And, you know, I talked about that in that defense up against SEAL Team Bravo. I said if you come at it from the south at the right angle and you get through the defense, you can get into that house before the defense rotates. And that's exactly what we saw happen here. The number of members that BossFight had left, just their sheer numbers alone, allowed them to break off members to deal with various threats as they approached, allowing 35 ultimately to make their way underneath the house and get that cap. So a great plan there. I mean, able to be able to have that many people still up at such a last minute kind of hurried push, or at least it felt that way because the timer was starting to tick down. Viper seemed a little thrown off by that when he checked. But anyways, to end it with a cap like that and to sneak it in so well, I mean, kudos to BossFight there in that opening round.
Yeah, really good job. Now we'll see if they got what it takes to lock it in for round 2 here. And go up into a 3-0 lead, put Mayhem on the back foot, and try to take this at least to a tied series.
No, you're good. You're good. I didn't ask for it. I was just trying.
I'll watch the north, I guess.
Gonna need to at least tie this to still have a shot at that final 2 slots. Pressure coming in from Lonely Viper does manage to grab
I always go
Wookie.
Slot, you fucking peak.
Yeah, I know. I
Same
wasn't
slot as
on
me.
you. I was too
James there, not able to land the shots on the refrag, so that is going to put Mayhem on the back foot right out the gate.
Somebody's trying to kill me. I'm a little offended.
Viper getting offended by someone trying to... No, let me try that again. Sleepy gonna try that again, folks. Lonely Viper getting offended that everyone is trying to kill him. He does not take kindly to that, so...
Well, he's on the
trying
wrong
to buy him
game.
a Christmas gift.
He's
Christmas gift.
He's not playing the right game if he
That's
gets
true.
offended by people trying to make sure he's not alive.
Virtually, not alive.
Yes, correct.
Let's clarify that.
Definitely want to play more of the, well, I don't know, Minecraft type situation if you don't. But
Chicken away.
yeah, he's yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of block joke. I don't know. It's too much work. Honestly, we're too far into this series for me to come up with anything witty or charming to deal with, because BossFight's gotten me all rattled with that cap they sneak in underneath the noses of both the casters
I'm
and the
offended
opposing
that they
team.
capped without us covering.
Yeah, they should have told us. They should have announced it to the casters that
They
the
should have
cap
ran
was
by
coming.
the camera and said, "We're gonna cap." God, rude.
They should have said, "This cap's for you, Noman. That's what I want. I want somebody to dedicate a cap to me next time." So just you know, write that in the books. We're bantering because there is not a lot of action as Mayhem does get set up here
Just positioning.
on both sides. So we're taking our time here as the shots are just kind of check fire. We're not seeing a lot of actual pressure coming in from the Mayhemians as 3 minutes remain in the round. Will they be ready for Scooby's spawn here? I don't think they will be.
Viper's got me singing Christmas carols over here. I had to mute a bit so I could sing along with him.
Scooby does ID the position on him. I saw him reach for his radio there, giving the intel to the team without giving himself away. He's staying quiet, exactly what he needs to do.
Sniper happens to get taken out, so we need to figure out how to hop.
My
and skip
question
without
is,
getting seen by that.
what system do you come up
Maybe we
with
could go
to
for
report
intel.
someone near you and for your team
Yeah,
to
but
know
let's wait.
who that is?
Yeah, usually
Where they're
numerical.
located.
It's usually numerical in order. You know, you go 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 clicks, 5 clicks.
Yeah, he's completely blocked from here. So we can start
Ooh, Scooby rushes out the trade. Theta there.
Monarch kid,
little-
luckily saving Theta's behind, man. That was easily a
Upper down to the
2-pick
dark room.
for Scooby, as he definitely had the element of surprise. And I think his anticipation, but that decision time it took for him to decide whether to go for Theta, who he just saw, or the guy who just came around the corner. And that little bit of hesitation cost him that trade, in my opinion. And Theta lives to shoot another round.
Yeah, Potato now dialed in here to Lego's spot. The shot's coming out from Viper, though, behind the wall. He's tucked in. He's looking for it.
Behind broken walls, I think.
He wants
Theta,
this.
meanwhile, able to push up into the center hotel completely unopposed and unseen.
Yeah, this is what he wanted. He wanted to get in underneath Viper's sniper scope there. Yeah, Viper sniper. He's looking for UC Death now, though, who is going to be his main challenge. As soon as he decides to check center hotel, Theta's going to be in danger. He opts to give up on that angle. Gonna pop back into Lonely Viper's view here, as there it is. Potato Bot does apply the pressure at helicopter. Misses the shot, though, and that's going to give Potato quite a bit of real estate to push up on. Now Lego's going to have to deal with him. Theta suppressing Lego's window gives Potato Bot the ability to push up a little bit. He's going to be in the view of Viper here in just a few seconds. You see Death applying the pressure there. Potato trying to keep 35 tucked in, but Lego pops out, grabs one. You see Death nabs Theta, and just like that, that middle push is absolutely decimated, leaving just James to try to deal with the remaining push, and that is easily scooped up by the Lonely Viper on the wall, giving BossFight that 3-0 lead that they definitely are looking for. They want to keep this point spread as high as possible going into this next series, because they've already got 2 losses under the belt. They need it, or 3 losses in terms of maps under the belt. They're going to need to at least tie this one and then win the whole next series to be in contention for that one of those 2 top spots.
Yeah, of course, that will also depend on the outcome of the other game, and then, of course, the outcome of the other rounds to follow there. So, you know, a lot still up in the air for everyone. I mean, the only way to get out of this unscathed is to remain undefeated on every map and every game for every round. So that's a really tough thing to ask, especially when you've got the teams that we have here today competing against one another. I mean, a reminder, these are 4 out of our top 8 teams in the league, or out of our top 7. 8th position is to be decided by our Challenger Cup final later on this afternoon. However, you know, these teams, they don't play. Like, these aren't your casual teams that jump in on a Tuesday and knock a game out and have some fun, which is great. You know, that is what the league is here for. If you want to play that way, more power to you, and we hope you have a great time. But if you want to commit the time and you want to put in the hours and you want to, you know, really get your team in sync and running like a machine, you know, you put in the hours that these teams put in. And I got to be honest with you, and knowing a lot of these guys as well as I do, it's a lot of time that they put in on a weekly basis just to make sure that that team is ready and that they're good to go here for not only regular season, but postseason all the way through to finals. And those games can get to be really lengthy. So both of these teams showing their stamina here a little bit, but we'll see how that maintains. We're into our 4th round. Sorry, no, our 3rd round. Cap threw me off a little bit. And Mayhem will be on the defense. A relatively safe objective to defend, but we'll see if they're able to handle it. BossFight looking to take the map here 4-0 on this one.
BossFight getting that Marsoc spawn in the southeast and gets set up on those hills, looking for any early crossers. James and Potato Bot here tucked in on helicopter building. Theta and Wookie. Again, defense, if you've been tuned into this channel, that you're not particularly unfamiliar with, as it is similar to what we saw them running against SEAL Team Bravo. BossFight, though, definitely handling the Mayhem strategies a lot more efficiently than SEAL Team Bravo was. I mean, Mayhem has not been able to put a point on the board. They did get capped on here. Very much the opposite of what I would have expected after seeing some of those defenses against that SEAL Team Bravo team.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, you know, BossFight and this team, they're a seasoned team. They've been around since VRML inception. So to say that those teams are different in skill and experience isn't a lie. I mean, BossFight just have this experience, and they've been in postseason every season. I don't think there's ever been a season in the 10 seasons we've run the VRML that BossFight has not been involved.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to play a big factor because, you know, mental state is a big thing. Keeping yourself, you know, shaking it off. It's a thing that seasoned teams have to be good at when it comes to championship stuff, because a lot's on the line. You get that heart racing, hard to aim the gun. You know, it's not like a 2D game. You're not just sitting there controlling a mouse. You've actually got to hold a gun steady in order to be able to hit your shots. It is an extra layer of challenge when you're doing these in VR, and especially when a series is going for 3, 4, 5 hours like these tend to do. You've really got to have a handle on that physical stamina, the mental stamina, the fortitude. It's a lot to handle, and BossFight definitely top of their game when it comes to handling the pressure of these situations.
Yeah, and you really mentioned it there. I was going to say we haven't really talked about that much yet today, and probably because we're still in the earlier rounds for this afternoon's events. Is physical stamina is right. Like, these teams, they're on their feet, they're up and down, they're crouching, they're on their bellies, they're proning, they're throwing their grenades, they're holding their arms out in front of them for long extended periods of time. And while they're not necessarily holding up 8 to 14 plus pound weapons, that is still physical exertion on your body. It does still require energy, and being able to measure and maintain that, and the endurance of that stamina is a key factor in these postseason games and tournaments, especially because they are, as Noman said, long events. It's a lot of games, it's a lot of rounds, and it's a lot of time. So you have to be ready. You have to know how to break between rounds. Actually take a quick break, sit down, get off your feet, so it's meanwhile, Viper.
He does find that the back of Monarchid, they're not prepared for the positioning of Lonely Viper rotating all the way around the northwest. You can kind of see him there on your mini-map, a little tiny push. But off of that, Lego and Scooby gaining some ground in the center, trying to get up as close as possible, but he's not. Lonely Viper getting dealt with by Potato Bot as he pushes through.
Yeah, that's the tough part of that particular side of the map. If you can figure it out, you might get the element of surprise like we saw there, where he was able to get the one pick, but then you are very, very exposed, so you have to be careful about your routing after that. And, he kind of learned that lesson, and I'm sure he was aware of that. BossFight doesn't do anything without knowing the implications of that first, and I'm sure he was well aware of the risks, but he did manage, again, to get a pick before he goes down, and that is helpful to the team, so.
Pressure coming back out towards UC Death. Wookie, meanwhile, manages to scoop up Scooby as he approaches the objective building corner there. Actually sweeping almost around the fence before he picks him up. The confirmation shot's coming out. And that's James applying pressure onto UC Death on West Street. And quickly, BossFight losing members here. The defense finally starting to really work out. The fantastic nade from 35.
They got a grenade on me.
Scoops up Wookie, tries to get out of that building, not quick enough. 35 almost loses his life on the pressure there from James.
Oh, a nice flash, well timed right at the front of the window. But it's not gonna matter. James Vogt finds both Legel and 35 at the end to secure Mayhem their life-saving round. But now they've got to do it on offense and defense and offense once again, unless they get a cap here, of course. But they do secure the round and stay alive on this map. BossFight probably a little upset there. A little surprised that flash wasn't enough to blind James in that window, but maybe it was a spectator desync type of thing where I wasn't seeing exactly where it happened to go off. But still, James, the linchpin there at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. We had to take a look at that 35 frag into the center hotel again, because that was an absolute beauty to down Wookie. But James able to capitalize in the end, and yeah, keeps him alive. But now the pressure's on every round. Every round now is going to be a life-saving round. Every round is going to be the thing that gets Mayhem closer to either potentially clinching a spot or having to duke it out in that final matchup against G-Men.
Boy, I do not envy Mayhem right now. I don't envy BossFight either, because BossFight realistically needs to win every round from here until the end of the event to really make sure that they lock in one of those top 2 spots. Because of that first round loss to G-Men on both maps, it puts them in a really tough position. I think after the scores were settled due to point spread and all the other additional factors in, BossFight coming into the second round started at the bottom of our leaderboard coming into round 2. So they are fighting. Literally every point now matters for them. No round is inconsequential to them. They need to secure every one that they can. So even that 1 point there that they gave up to Mayhem could become a determining factor in them taking either that second or third or even first slot in a tiebreaker scenario. So you have to keep that in mind. And I know BossFight knows this, but they're playing well, and you can see they definitely came to play here on Downfall as we roll into the next round. Mayhem, the lifeline still extended. Can they hold on to it?
Just saw there, Bono and Potato, a synchronized duck as they get under the bullets of Lonely Viper, who applies the pressure on the hill as he is wont to do, usually on those walls there. Really using that scope to his advantage. James? If James is going to try for this peak yet again, or if he's going to try to get up into North Hotel. Gonna just crawl right past. We're gonna check in with the rest of the team as they get into positions. 2-2-1 is the approach, or I should say 1-2-2 if we're going top down from the map. Spreading themselves nice and even, getting all the different angles that they can before they make their approach. And this is something that, you know, we've seen consistently from Mayhem. They want to make sure they've got good coverage on the map. They don't like being surprised by any players coming from behind them. You know, remembering that subway play where Lonely Viper was on that flank approach, and then James reflanks the flanker and cleans up Lonely Viper before he does any damage. I mean, that is the kind of preparedness Mayhem like to have here, and BossFight doing a really good job in Downfall of punishing every little mistake that Mayhem has made.
Darkroom?
I don't see anyone. Yeah, I don't see Darkroom.
Still just sussing out where the rest of the defense is. Everybody's kind of tucked in. Scooby again in a very advanced position here in Dumpster. Just going to be using that audio cue to try to nab anybody coming through. He's really tucked in here on probably on one of the tightest angles you can find. Take a look at the objective. Lonely Viper and UC Death. Backside of the objective, 35 up in helicopter 2-story. Now, Scooby-Doo's position, the only problem with it is the distance. The distance to the objective is pretty hefty. If things start to go awry here, crossing from south to north with the way this offense is set up is going to be very dangerous. But he may not have to worry about it because there's only 2.5 minutes left. And that is the first pick we see as Potato Bot nails UC Death in the head. Nice little position there. Lonely Viper, meanwhile, with the response. I didn't even hear that shot. Lonely Viper thinking he got the refrag, but he is not correct. His Potato Bot is still alive. He did get James, however. Ooh, Lego looking towards Potato Bot's position. Doesn't quite have the angle on him. Gonna have to deal with most likely Mono as he pushes through, but let's check in with Wookie and Theta as they approach Scooby again. Here we go, the same push. He's coming out on the backside. He doesn't catch two. I mean, he keeps trying for it.
Well, this time he got Theta at least. Last time Theta escaped, this time Theta did not. But Theta does get the trade. Wookie gonna rifle through a little bit of unmentionables there. And we continue on with the push. Mayhem still 3 strong, so not unfathomable that they can do this current objective, but it is tough. I mean, this objective requires some really tough crossing. Unless you come up the West Street where you probably have the best kind of quick jump over to where you can cap from, this has a really tough approach to be coming from this eastern side. And Legel's going to see Potato Bot here. He's already trained in. There's the laser over, and he does find the shots onto Potato as he makes the cross.
Ooh, and the trade coming out for Wookie, but the time is going to be the real enemy here. Mono not going to be able to